Rajshri? Okay, I think we have all the questions in one go and then we'll ask the panelists to respond. Yes, please.
I'm Dr. Ajay Kumar Singh.
Of you, my distinguished panel members, the chair, my distinguished chair of the session, Professor Prem Vrat, who really is one of the stars that the country has in the area of education, my very eminent colleagues in the panel, audiences today. A very good evening, all of you. I'd like to start with thanking the organizers. Dr. Ravi has been very instrumental in taking this to where it is today, taking this conference to great heights, and all the team members of Dr. Ravi. Congratulations to all of you. It's been I was asked to be in this session, my answer was that, look, I'll be delighted to reorient and to adapt to the session, as Dr. Premrat mentioned, solving the expanding examination assessment needs of universities. However, my point was that the topic of the last session is extremely important. It's very close to the heart of almost all of us in this room. And so it's important that I share with you some of my thoughts, backed by some very revealing statistics that a lot of people may know. But I requested the organizers that, look, I would like to connect probably the two topics, and they very kindly agreed that. So thanks so much again. Let me share with you my views and, of course, my experience in the changing trends in the engineering education, not only in India, but even worldwide. So I'm going to give you the Indian perspective as well as a global perspective. And I think, I've learned one thing, that it's important to highlight the problem, but it's also very important to share with you the solutions. Because when we share with you the solution, then we also share with you what we are doing and what is the right approach or is a reasonably good approach to solving problems. So let's look at what those approaches are. I thought there's a very good quote that I found, that scientists investigate that which already is, but engineers create that which has never been. I really like this quote. Now, just look at the quote, the immense challenge that engineers face today. It doesn't matter, irrespective of what the area is. There are huge challenges in front of us today, particularly in today's knowledge society, where knowledge or areas are changing by the day. I mean, on a daily basis, you find that there's innovation, there's new publication, or there's an intellectual property. How do you cope up with that? So I think this was a very apt phrase for this conference, and I thought I'd share that with you today. Let me start very quickly in just a few minutes of some revealing statistics. But as I said, I'll share with all of you some solutions, but it has to start with what the gaps are in the country and the world. So we do know that India has one of the youngest population in the world. In fact, the current median age in India is about 26. And this is statistics taken from very, very authenticated web sources. Compare us with Europe, Japan, and even China, right, that all of us are talking about, the whole world is talking about. Our median age is less than 26, and we all know that. Youngsters are all around us, they're bubbling with energy and excitement. So there's a unique and a huge opportunity for India today in the field of education, right, particularly in the segment of higher education that I'm going to focus today, right? We do know, in fact, the Indian Academy of Engineering that we belong to came out with a very, very interesting report. And the report said that we come out with about 6 lakh engineers per year. That's a ballpark figure. And of that, only 25% of engineers are employable. Observe, only 25% of the 6 lakh engineers, at least last year, were employable. Where do the others go? They probably go to the BPO or the KPO sector. And God bless what happens to them after that. They just fizzle out. What a shocking statistics as far as the quality of engineering education is concerned in the country. If you look at the growth of engineering degree level institutions in the country, and I think my very eminent speaker before in the panel before this, Professor Mantha from ICTE, mentioned, what's important to observe here is that the number of colleges and universities in this country are mushrooming exponentially. The number 1,668 was, I think, a few years ago. And the annual capacity, the admission capacity was almost 6 lakh. That's what I mentioned to you, right? About 6 lakhs. And I believe that the trend is scary. It's an exponential growth of colleges, institutes, and universities. But God bless, there are no faculty members. Even the current IITs, the new 7 or 8 IITs that we started, they're starving for faculty members. There are hardly any faculty members joining even the prime institutions. The only exception is the Indian Institute of Science at Bangalore, or probably the Tata Institute of Fundamental Research, the meccas of research excellence. But other IITs, even though they are great, they've made a great mark, they're really struggling to get faculty. So what to talk about other second or third tier institutions in the country? NASSCOM McKinsey report of 2005 talks about the shortage of 500,000 engineers in IT and ITS sector alone, which is the 2010 forecast. And as we all know, the GER in the country, much that we talk about, it's currently 10 to 12%, but we really need to take the GER to 20 to 22% by the end of the 12th plan. In fact, we have to do that if the country has to really make a mark in global settings today. And then finally, if you look at the comparative statistics, which I thought it's interesting to share with the audience, if you look at the USA, there were 4,236 degree granting institutions. In India, there are more than 1,500 technical institutions with the intake now, of course, of 600,000. But the takeaway from these slides is that research is almost non-existent in just a few, about 15 to 20, probably 25 of these universities or institutions. And that stems because of very, very shoddy quality of engineering. Now, why is the quality of engineering shoddy, and how do we fill that huge gap that the country has, is something I'll spend the next 5 minutes with. But just look at the revealing statistics that I thought I'll share with you. Now, the first aspect, right, or the parameter or the dimension that I believe is important towards changing trends in engineering education is in leveraging global talent in novel ways. Observe, I mentioned that leverage global talent, we all know that, but in novel ways. How do you do that? We all know that there's a dire need for very good faculty members at all levels, right from school to college to institutions to universities. And there's a serious crisis today. In fact, I have met students across the sector, randomly in conferences, international conferences in India and abroad. And some of these students are the unfortunate ones who have been, who are out from universities which hardly have faculty. And they tell us, look, we were self-taught, they were hardly, what faculty are you talking about? Well, we are lucky that some of the top-notch IIT retired professors are with us, but other than that, there's hardly any faculty. So if that is what we produce, you can imagine the impact that India will make to the world. It probably will be negligible. All this talk of numbers to me is scary because we are not focusing on quality. Now, a lot of quality was discussed in the previous session, and I thought I learned the word quality from this wonderful book that I thought I'll share with you, called The Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance by Robert M. Pirsig. Please read this book. I request all of you to read this book by Robert M. Pirsig, Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance. The entire book is about quality. And I remember I read this book, I think, about 15 years ago, and that's when I really started thinking about what quality is. So there is an issue, and we need to really figure out the solutions. If you look at the faculty statistics, which is released by the HRD report, and you read that in the papers too, almost 1/3 of the positions, even in the top institutions, are lying vacant. I'm not going to read out the numbers there. 1/3 positions are lying vacant even in the IITs today, right? Where are you going to get those people? There are hardly any PhDs in this country. Professor Premvat will correct me, but I don't think this country produces more than 25 to 30 PhDs in computer science worth their quality. I'm not talking about everybody from any Tom, Dick, and Harry city. Now, 25 to 30 PhDs with hundreds of institutions, there is never any way I can fill one faculty gap in my university. There's no way. You have to figure out innovative ways, and I think that is what we are going to do, and that's what many of us in this country have started practicing. So how do we fill the gap? So the first obvious solution is that let's leverage ICT. It's there with us now. This is a knowledge economy. It's a knowledge era. Even the kids today are talking about iPod, iPad. They're all over the internet, Facebook, name it, and there you are, even the kindergarten kids. So leverage ICT in a technology-based campus. There's no going back now. This is an irreversible path. The other thing I like to mention that we are practicing is tap minds across the globe who supervise and teach cutting-edge courses. Now, from day one, we knew that even though the plans or the vision of NIT University are grandiose, but we'll have a tough time getting top-notch PhDs from IIT, the ISC, TIFR, or probably the US or Europe or wherever. How do you get these people? Because they will flock to R&D labs, they'll flock to industry, the salaries are much more, as I think one of my very eminent delegate here pointed out. But I think, we had to, as Mr. Pawar, who's the founder of the university, as he pointed out repeatedly, he said, look, we have a problem. We have to solve the problem. Don't give me excuses. Give me the solutions, and I will tell you what solution is right, what is feasible, what is sustainable. But we all know there is a problem. So what we did was, we said, all right, every faculty at the university, through their contacts, through their colleagues, and the colleagues are probably all over the world, many are VPs, directors of labs all over the US, Bay Area, Bangalore. Let's tap them and say, look, we will give you a good competitive remuneration, right? We will give you all the benefits, you'll hobnob with the brightest minds in the world. Will you come and spend time with us, whatever time you have? You'll be surprised, a large number of them signed up. I'm actually delighted to share this with you. that some of the top minds in the United States of America, people, fellows of AT&T Bell Labs, fellows of IBM, and these are the global gurus, they're now an adjunct or visiting faculty at NIT University. And they don't sit over there. They come to the university, they take a full-fledged course. And all what we give them is, well, you'll have all the name and the fame. Of course, we'll take care of international airfare. That is it. They don't need any money. All they need is an international to and fro airfare with a lot of connection to industry and probably the government of India. And it works. It works wonders. So I think you have to learn to fill those gaps. And then what we did was to create an international pool of adjunct and visiting faculty from all over the globe, be it Singapore, be it China, or be it the US. And the whole logic was, look, you love teaching, but you're industry. And so let's